Yeah, no, we wasn't the result that we wanted this weekend. We were really hoping to get at least one, if not two wins, and we're disappointed in the outcomes. There were definitely some highlights. I really loved how we started. I really loved the attitude that we had on Friday after being off for who knows 3,000 days in a row to be able to come in and start really well. So I want us to continue that because whatever we were doing there worked. We didn't have that same kind of joie de vivre on Saturday, and so we're finding we had some good team discussions and what do we need to do to get back there. And so I'm really happy with the takeaways from that. I think today we had a good practice today. They had Monday off, and I'm excited to see where we go this week because we've identified some good things to work on, and I think we can be really successful this weekend as well.
Coach, it felt like there were some real bright spots in the two games against NDSU, but how do you how do you address the consistency? How do you make it so you're seeing more of those bright spots in a regular pattern?
Yeah, there's always going to be times when you're going to be inconsistent. You just want to be. You don't want to be consistently inconsistent. And so that's been our biggest takeaway. We to use a football analogy of it, we had times this weekend where we were max protecting and sending out one wide receiver, but it was 3rd and 28, right? That's not going to win us games. And so we're working on how do we get that diversification in the offense. And we're seeing it on film, but it's putting it into translation on. And that's what we did today. It was just nonstop. How can you score in this situation? How can you put more heat on the ball? How can you do those good things? And that's going to diversify our offense a little bit. I mean, we did have the standouts. Taylor being here was one of them. I mean, just to brag on her for a little bit, our goal is to pass on a 3-point scale of 2.3. If you can do that, we're going to win. And she passed a 2.5 this weekend. So if we can get her to stay at that level and bring everyone else up to hers, that's going to win us games. And so that's what we're focusing on, just building on what we have and working on the areas that need improvement.
Hey, Coach, hockey certainly plays weekend series. I think men's and women's basketball is adjusting a little bit of seeing the same opponent right away the next day and playing. Volleyball's interesting is that a lot of times during a regular non-conference year, you play multiple opponents over a period of just 2 or 3 days. So is this series set up all that much of an adjustment to a volleyball program? Tell us a little bit about how the schedule sets up and how you guys view it.
Yeah, this is the first time that I can remember playing the same opponent on back-to-back days. I actually kind of love it. I mean, we played Friday night. We had some good film. We all the coaching staff was up late, Friday night, which is, the norm when you're in this type of situation. And we were able to walk in and have a good film session on Saturday morning. It is an adjustment playing two conference teams back to back and not having that day off in between, and that's just going to go to our conditioning too, is can we hold up in the second day and play 2 high-level matches in 26 hours. The other sports might have more, hockey definitely has more experience with that. That's what they always do, Friday, Saturday for, who knows when. We're new to that, and so this weekend was a good learning experience for us. This worked. This didn't, and so I think we'll be ready for it next weekend. But it's a nice change. I really like playing on back-to-back days and just focusing on the same team.
Yeah, Coach, I imagine you got to see some of your maybe more inexperienced players face some live bullets a little bit. Yeah. Did you feel like you were able to gain some good intel on some of those newer, fresher faces for you guys?
No, absolutely. Whenever you can be in your gym all day, all month, all year. It's like preparing for a boxing match. Like everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the face. And that happened to a little bit with us this weekend. We had, we've got 2 freshmen on our team. We've actually have 4 if you include our red shirts that have never played in a college match, and 3 of them were able to play this weekend. And we got good film on them. And I think they realized, oh, wait a minute, yeah, I did make a freshman mistake here. I did do things that, we would not expect players to do that, people refer to them as like newbies and freshmen and stuff like that. They've seen that now, and they can put that into play. After our first weekend, I expect our freshmen to play like sophomores, our sophomores to play like juniors, and so on, and our seniors to play at the grad student level. I think you saw that a little bit with Taylor again, with the way she played this weekend, and now going into this next weekend, our freshmen won't be freshmen anymore. We expect them to be at a higher level.
Hey, Coach, man, how much motivation does it provide for the rest of the season, having started the year just losing to the rival like that?
Let me tell you something. If we're not motivated to get better after this past weekend, then I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, if you're not motivated, it doesn't matter if you're from North Dakota or not. When you play a rivalry game, if you're not ready for the heat of the moment in that, and not, putting the sword into the forge and making it stronger, then you're not ready to play high level athletics. And so it's really good for us that we get to play them again at the end of the year, and they're going to improve, as all teams do. We can improve with that nugget in the back of our head, knowing, hey, we get some revenge on them later on in the year, and that's going to be in the back of our minds. And it showed today in practice. I thought, with the exception of about a 2-minute sequence that we talked about today, we had a really solid hour and 37-minute practice today. Taking that, just not revenge mindset, but how do we flip this so we don't have this feeling again? And if we're starting to get that sense in the locker room of, winning is great, but I hate to lose more. And it's when it comes to a rivalry game, that has to be the mindset. And I think if we're going to start getting that, and that's going to really come into play when we see them at the end of the year, plus throughout conference play.